Do you ever just find yourself in a period of life where it just feels like so many things are happening all at once? I find myself in that season, and it's kind of mind boggling. It's kind of unsettling in some ways. It kind of makes me want to slow down and just catch my breath. And I want to go through and kind of chat with you guys about maybe some methods that we can use to help ground ourselves in periods of life where we're going through lots of changes. Um, Another thing I'm kind of looking into as well is morning routines and how setting the tone for your day with a good morning routine can maybe help ground us a little bit in, let's say, periods of change like this. And just for some context, recently in my life, I just moved. Two of my friends got married. I'm super excited for them. My two best homies, love those guys a lot. Um, I went through a breakup. That was really hard, and yeah, there's some heartache there, and it definitely not an easy process, and it's transformative. Uh, Moving has been a lot. New friends, new places. I travel a lot for work, so this is it's supposed to be normal for me at this point, but it never fully, I guess, allows for the. It's never truly easy to move from place to place every 13 weeks. I mean, the pros by far outweigh the cons. However, there are definite like downsides to it, which is the changes don't allow for you, let's say, all the time to feel completely settled. So, what are some ways that we can ground ourselves? And I'm actually going to pose that question to Mr. Gemini, the AI here, which I found to be pretty useful. Again, not big on hyper reliance on tools like this, but I think learning and using it for deep dives into ideas, I think can be very useful, as opposed to having it just do all the thinking for you. Again, AI is a tool, it's an extension. Not every tool is bad per se, it's just you have to use it with the right intentions here. And AI can very much get out of hand. I want to acknowledge the potential downsides of it. But the question I'm going to pose is in periods of I can't even spell that word, significant changes in our lives, how can we find grounding? And can this be tied into the idea of a morning routine? I don't know why I'm so obsessed with morning routines. That's just the thing that I always think about, because every day gives you a chance to start a new day. And some of the research I was just looking at talks about how your brain is more susceptible to taking in new ideas, because when you go into a state of sleep and you wake up, you're closer to being able to tap into your subconscious mind per se, which is pretty cool because of the brainwave states that you're at. When you're sleeping, you go into delta wave state, and so when you're starting to come out of that as you're waking up, it's almost like you're able to suggest more things to your subconscious mind, which is pretty cool. But let's see. All right, I'm going to pose that question. So let's see. This is what we got. During significant life transitions, your brain's predictive processing engine goes into a state of high entropy, chaos. When your external environment, routine, or identity is shifting, the brain can no longer rely on its top-down automated predictions to save energy. It has to constantly compute new data. And that might explain, like, every single time I find myself moving to a new place, I'm like exhausted. Like, I feel a lot more tired when I first get there, and then like as I start to get into a new routine and start to settle, things feel a lot easier. So being in a new environment challenges your brain because you got to scan. You got to try and figure out, like, oh, is this person safe? Is this place safe to go? What happens if I do this over here? And like, where's a good place to eat? And like, can I relax in this place? And like, where should I go work out? Where should I go run? Like a lot of different questions come up, and that's a lot more work that your brain has to do. So it's good perspective there. Let's see. To find grounding during these periods, you have to provide the nervous system with invariant reference points. Ooh, that's a nice word. Invariant, meaning non-changing, something that is solid, predictable, unyielding sensory anchors that say to the brainstem, no matter what is changing out there, this specific biological reality remains exactly the same. So you have to find something. If you're at a point in your life where you're experiencing a lot of changes all at once, you have to find something to anchor yourself to. And what exactly is that? Well, let's get into that. But that's a fantastic idea there. Finding something to ground yourself, anchor yourself to. So let's see. Anatomy of grounding. The morning practice, the first contact rule. The moment your feet touch the floor in the morning, pause. Don't immediately stand up or reach for your phone. Sit on the edge of your bed for 60 seconds and focus entirely on the mechanical interface between the soles of your feet and the floor. Literally grounding. You're grounding your feet into the ground. That's really cool. And you're just taking 60 seconds without, let's say, the expectation of trying to do anything, just sitting there taking in your reality. That first minute of your day, that's for you. Enjoy it. Take in all that is this beautiful reality, because it is beautiful. And I think we have to look at it that way, because it can very easily go the opposite way if we allow it to. Our brains are very suggestive, and the ideas that you start floating around, I think, start to really become your reality. The neurobiology behind that idea. So this activates high-intensity mechanoreceptors and Pacinian corpuscles in the plantar fascia. So for those of you that aren't scientists, these are little mechanoreceptors, little cells in your feet that essentially allow you to sense pressure. And that communicates to your nervous system kind of what's going on. Like, what are your feet doing? Where are they at in space? How much pressure is there? So that's pretty cool. So essentially, you're tethering your feet, your neural maps to gravity. It's a literal structural anchor before the day's cognitive demands pull you into the future. Pretty cool. And some of the ideas I was going into a little bit earlier to talk about how these Pacinian corpuscles, or these mechanoreceptors, that's a maybe a more simplified term, as opposed to getting into the specifics of what those little guys are, using the fancy name of Pacinian corpuscles. They attach to the fascia, and they're integrated within the fascia, I should say. And the fascia is a fascinating area for human development, and a fascinating area that we're going to start maybe looking more into in, I think, in the coming years, with how the fascia reveals what's going on with your nervous system. And in states of fight or flight, in states of chronic stress, the fascia starts to lay down in certain ways. A really easy example is the shoulders elevated position. As you become more and more stressed, it's almost like you have this repeated response of tension in the shoulders, and so you just keep shrugging up and up and up, and the fascia starts to lay itself down in this fashion, and it kind of locks your shoulders into this tense position, and you start getting neck pain and you get shoulder pain. So fascia very much reveals what might be going on in your nervous system, and you can look at somebody's posture, and that can also tell you kind of what's going on with the underlying fascia and the muscle tissue as well. Fascinating stuff here. So micro routines, keeping the constants small. When everything is changing, trying to maintain a massive, rigid 90-minute morning routine will actually increase your stress, because it creates another vector for potential failure. Instead, you need a micro routine composed of non-negotiable tiny constants that require almost zero cognitive load. Easy stuff. Oh, guys, these are good. Hydrate in light. Get outside and get some sunlight. Andrew Huberman goes on about this conversation all the time. The benefits of sunlight first thing in the morning, and how that regulates your circadian rhythm and primes you for wakefulness through the secretion of hormones like norepinephrine, epinephrine, and little dopamine, that little fancy word that we all love to say, dopamine. So that's a really easy micro routine. Hydrate and light. So get outside, drink a glass of water. Do that every morning. And again, this is advice for me as much as it is stuff that I'm sharing with you guys. So every morning, getting up, having a glass of water outside in sunlight can really help ground us. A tactile anchor. Ooh, I like this one. Strum 3 simple chords on the guitar. No goals, just sound. Or grind coffee beans manually. Something tactile. Maybe you have like a fidget spinner or something that you can like put between your fingers. Maybe you can just feel like the softness of a blanket that you have for just a few minutes. Just something to ground you, and that's just something you do every day. And it can become like a little bit of a routine that grounds you. Or, last suggestion here from good old Gemini is the somatic scan. Do the 5-minute unmeasured body scan. And that's really cool because it's like a head-to-toe assessment for yourself. Like, how's my head feeling? How's my back feeling? How are my hips feeling? How are my knees feeling? Just kind of working your way down. And that's massively grounding as well. The shift from becoming to being. Oh, let's get into it. In times of major transition, our minds are naturally obsessed with becoming, getting through the transition, setting up the new clinic, hitting the next creator milestone, or adapting to the new reality. Your morning hours are your daily opportunity to practice pure being. As you sit with your coffee or your guitar in the quiet of the morning, look at that time not as a launch pad to conquer the transition, but as a sanctuary from it. Okay. So when everything around you is changing, your mornings, and it doesn't even have to be mornings, guys. It can be, any time in the day where you have time for yourself. Maybe that's lunchtime. Maybe that's a little bit before bed. Maybe you get a little break at some point during your time at work. But the key idea is to take that time every single day for yourself, to ground yourself and have these little micro routines where you can just get in touch with the reality that you're living in, and just know that despite all the changes around you, you still have some degree of autonomy, some degree of control. That's beautiful. By introducing these micro anchors, you tell your nervous system that even if the storm outside is severe, the ground beneath you haven't moved an inch. Actually, I think it's hasn't moved an inch, you silly Willy. You silly Willy. Are you navigating a specific transition right now where your morning routine feels like, leave me alone? It's asking me specific questions. I'm not answering questions to you, Gemini. But yeah, I definitely want to feel more grounded, and that's something I'm gonna try and employ, these little micro routines, just little basic things you can do that they don't have to have a specific outcome. We are so outcome driven, so production driven. Something has to lead to something else. Some kind of metric must be met. We need more metricless options, more goalless options, more things that we do every single day where there's no thing that you absolutely need to accomplish. You're just living. It's returning to a state of play and a state of awe and wonder with the fact that you're in existence. This is a beautiful life. We should be in awe and wonder of it. We don't have to be here, but yet we are. So, yeah, let's introduce some micro anchors to our day. If you guys are going through lots of transitions, this might be useful for you. And yeah, I hope some of these ideas landed with you guys. I don't know if my camera seems kind of blurry, doesn't it? Whatever. But I hope these ideas landed with you guys. And if it did, and if any of this helps you, give your boy some help. Like, comment, subscribe. The classic trio. I hate saying it. It sounds so cringe, but it's going to help my channel grow. And I want to do this a lot more. I want to be able to spend some more time on YouTube, just sharing ideas and sharing love with you guys. But I'm going to head out. Wishing you guys all the best. And thank you for joining me on Summit Neuroflow. Cheers.